put a live goal on there because I want, we need to make that go. We need to make that go. If you guys want to subscribe, you can subscribe here. You can subscribe over there. You can come hang out. What's going on here? Okay, we're good. We're good on the restream. So if anyone's over on YouTube, make sure you comment in there so that I can see it. Make sure it's working because we had some technical difficulties the other day. I had to up so the podcast Shaping Success. I'm going to make a different show because I'm going to continue to do this now. I'm not going to be doing this tomorrow or the next day because I'm going to take weekends off, but we're going to do Monday through Friday. Morning coffee is what we call it. And it's interesting because I'm watching over on Restream trying to see what's going on over there. But perfect. We got YouTube. Nikki is here. Nikki is in the YouTube lounge is what we should call that. I need to make another intro. We're going to have 2 separate podcasts. Shaping Success is just kind of my thing. And I just don't know. Like, I feel like this is, I've had some really good feedback about this. Multiple people have said that they like this more than the regular show. I do enjoy interviewing guests, but the thing is that it's become, I see you. It's become a little bit different because this is a way for me to interact with people. This is a way for me to be able to talk to people, to kind of talk about me. It's all about me. But like why I think the way that I do. Why do I want to interview people? Why do I want to talk to these people who help me to be better? And there's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about because I don't want to alienate a few people. But the deal is that there's been really good feedback that this is better than the podcast. But it is my live. I like doing stuff live. I like doing stuff off the cuff. The thing is sometimes you can say stuff that probably shouldn't say, but I don't care. It is what it is. I'm not getting canceled. So thanks to everyone who's hanging out over on TikTok. I wish that TikTok would allow me to use Restream because Restream allows me to stream to like 4 places at one time. I could add TikTok to it, but they don't allow me to do that. So it's a little bit tougher to do it on TikTok. It's kind of annoying because this could be over here and you would be able to see more and interact and whatever. But you don't have to. You can hang out on TikTok. I'm just not as interactive there right now because I got this right here. So I've been thinking a lot about like what's going on and how yesterday I was having a conversation with Nikki actually about the things that happen in my life and like how I have a plan, right? Like, I feel like there's, I can't remember what it was. It's like make the plan. There's it's that meme or whatever. It's like, and then throw the plan up, right? Well, things will never happen if you don't do anything. And I feel like you have to plan and then plan and then plan and then plan. And I used to plan for the best or plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? Now I plan for the best and hope for the worst or vice versa or whatever. I don't know. That's the opposite of saying. I plan for the best and hope for the best. And when the worst happens, I have another plan in order to keep going. And I think that comes with like determination. Like I'm sitting here going, well, I want to do this. So I'm going to do that. And then, I do it and then it doesn't work. And it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? Do I just quit? And that thought never crosses my mind about quitting. It's weird. It's like it's never there. It's like you got to be a figure the fucker outer. Like you got to figure it out. You got to know that no matter what you do, there's another way to get there, right? There's another way to get there. I keep going back to that hamster wheel, right? It's like just because you're in that wheel doesn't mean you can't get off that wheel and go more. So planning is definitely necessary. Nikki says, I'm definitely a planner. I hate surprises. Planning is definitely necessary, but planning doesn't ever, it's the safe bet, right? And I think that's the hard part because we're brought up, and I was talking to my mom last night about this. It's like we were brought up in this thing. So this is a safe bet, right? If you haven't read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, I suggest you read that because money is like something that makes the world go round, right? And we always talk about money. We always think about money, and like we always think about like, what's the safe bet? What can we have? What can you do? Detours needed. Yes, detours needed. What can we do, right, to be in the safe space? And I believe in risk, but I believe in calculated risk. So there's a point where you can get really, really specific on planning one way, but you'll never take the chance to take the risk because if you do, it's not a safe bet. But I find that medium, right? That in between. I call myself an entrepreneur, but I'm not quite there yet. Like, it's going over Red Sapphire Dragon. We are live over on YouTube if you want to come hang out. But I call it a calculated risk, right? Like you have to think about it. And sometimes you take that too far to the risk side, right? And then sometimes you don't. And that's what I think you have to do. I think you have to plan, but you have to also like take an unsafe bet sometimes. So what's the safe bet? And Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about this. Robert Kiyosaki, if you haven't, Kiyosaki, I don't know, something like that. I can't remember how to say his last name. But anyway, you read the book and he talks about like, there's a safe bet, right? Okay, here's your safe bet. Go to school, work really hard. Graduate from high school, get a really good grades. Go to college. Find a job that will pay you well. But not too well. You know, like you have the goal of whatever. Like I did this, okay? So I went back to school, I went back to college, became an educator. Couldn't do anything with that. Like there is no life that I would have had with my family that would have been more than just surviving, right? The difference is right now, like I'm surviving, but I have the opportunity to do more than just survive, right? So you get a good job. Say I stayed being a teacher, really good retirement. If you can call a retirement good, because what it would allow me to do is be really close to what I was making when I was teaching, which is nothing. And have health insurance and have benefits and have all those things, right? That make you feel safe. Makes you feel safe. Awesome. Elizabeth, what's happening? Red Sapphire Dragon in the YouTube as well. Awesome. So you can do the safe thing, correct? Like you can like, all right, here's what's going on. Here's what we're doing. This is safe, right? But then you'll never possibly be more than that, right? Like it's a safe bet. So like, okay, as a teacher, I was making $38,000 a year, which is jack shit for all you know. Couldn't barely, we were living paycheck to paycheck, which we're kind of doing right now, but it's a little bit different. The reward is much higher with a 100% commission job, right? There's a risk involved because there's months where it's really slow and you could not get paid, but the reward could be much higher. So that's kind of the thing, like with real estate, right? You go and you buy a house. Like we all sit here and we're like, all right, we pay our taxes, we do this, we do that, we blah, blah, blah. But you can take a little bit of a risk and you can put some money in the stock market and hopefully make some money. But if you don't do that, then you never know, right? It's like buying a lottery ticket. What is up? Why is in the house over on the YouTube? This is great. I love this. We've got some people in the YouTube chat. This is really cool. Getting people going in here. But that's the thing. Like it's a calculated risk. You have to decide, like, are you willing to risk it? And the people who don't risk it are the people who don't, it doesn't go any further. So that's something that, you have to learn to do that. And that's just a really small risk or really small, definition of what's going on. Right. But I've talked to people about this. My wife is a little bit the opposite of me. Like she wants to take the safe bet, right? She wants to do everything, which is good because the person who takes a risk could be really high on the risk. And then I'm going to take this big old risk. And she's like, no. She's talked me out that ledge, put me in a place where I need to be so I can be more in the middle. So find someone who actually stops you from making crazy bets. But you can't do anything more without actually kind of taking a little risk here and there. So anyway, we weren't talking about risk. We're talking about determination, because determination is something that I am. Determined is something that you need to be, right? Yeah, she plays it safe. She's good. Like I said, like I'm not super crazy. Like I'm not going to make these big old giant huge risks, right? But I'm going to take a calculated risk, and sometimes that calculated risk has a high end risk. I don't know how to put it. But anyway, getting there is tough. It's one of those things. Wise is, and we're talking about podcasting. Wise has been podcasting for a long time. Same here. Could have quit a long time ago, right? But the people who survive are the ones who can keep going. So determination kind of plays into that, right? This is success related, right? So this is one of the first quotes that popped up here. It says, if you have to take the long road to success, the result is still the same. So that's determination is something that no matter how long it takes you to get there, you're going to keep doing it, and you're still going to get that end result because you're determined to find it. So you get on that path, you start working towards that, something goes wrong, you find a way, you figure it out, right? That's it. So it doesn't matter what, I feel like I've seen this. You've probably seen this like on TikTok before. It's like, here's my goal, right? And we always want it to be a straight line, and it's never a straight line. It's like a squiggly roundabout way to get to that goal, because you have the goal in mind, but you don't really know the exact path to get there, but you can plan out the path and what you want. And I love this too much to quit is what Wise says. Same here. Like it's just good. That's what I like about this. Like there's the feedback on this morning coffee thing that I've been doing every day, that people like this. This is better than the other, right? And it's the same thing, but it's a little different. Brian's not here this morning. I got my Warriors Collection coffee. So let's see here. If you can't, this is a good one. I love this because it's like seeing it, right? Believing it. Part of getting there, part of getting to the goal that you have is knowing that you can do it, knowing that it's there, seeing the finish line. Like you can't win a race if you don't see the finish line. So this one says, if you can't see the finish line, believe it's there, and be determined to get going. Because why would you start the race if you didn't know that there was a finish line? Right? You're trying to find it. It is rare that it is a straight line, Nikki says, and that's the thing. The thing is if you see that goal, it may not be a straight line, but you can still get there. You just have to be bound and determined to get there. Wise, I've been doing this. This is number 10, I believe. I think. I started last week. Took Sunday off, and I'm going to start doing this Monday through Friday. So this is, tomorrow. Today I actually have a day off from work. We're going up to go see my parents here at around noon. I've got a few things I got to do this morning. And then we're going to head up to my parents' place and hang out with them. But I just figured it's a lot to do it. I'm almost... It's so funny because I love Shaping Success and where it started. I'm almost thinking that I'm just going to do this. I can still do them, but that's like 6 shows a week. Okay. Determination. Got to believe the finish line's there. Like, why would you start the race if you didn't think that there was a finish line, right? The one thing that I like about it is this is the way that my mind works, right? The finish line. We got this finish line. So if you can't see the finish line, believe it's there and you'll be determined to keep going. When you get to the finish line, are you done? Or do you start another race? Right? And that's where I kind of look at that. Like the race is done, but it's never over, right? Like I think if I was a marathon runner, and I'm not. Trust me. Like I wouldn't even run if a bear was chasing me. I'd be like, dude, I'm done. I probably would run, but you know what I'm saying? Like I hate running. Like I would never choose running as something to do for fun. There's no way. I just wouldn't do it. There's no way. But if I was, like my thought process would be this, like, okay, so I ran this marathon, made it to the finish line. I made it in however long, what's a good marathon time? I don't know. I'm making it up. I'm going to make it up. Say it was 3 hours, right? It's not 3 hours. I don't know who the hell can run 26 miles in 3 hours. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so I made it in 3 hours. That will never be enough, right? That would never be like, I wouldn't be satisfied with that because I would want to do better the next time. But you can only push yourself to a certain extent, right? Like, so your body's only going to go this far. Like I was thinking about like when I was an offensive lineman and the 40-yard dash is something that you have to do in order to prove how fast you are. People look at that, right? And so you do the 40-yard dash and someone was like, these receivers run like a 4.4 40 or 4.0 40. Like they're fast, right? A wide receiver is. Well, offensive lineman's not that fast, but he's got to be under 5 probably. And I was like 5'4". I was like, one guy told me like, you're never going to do that. Like I could have done it. I could have been better at it. Like I could have done better than a 5'4". It'd take a lot of work, but there's only an extent that like my body will go to, just like your body. So you can do everything you can to be better every single time, but there's only a certain part you can go. So like if you're going to get to, you're at 3 hours and you're maxed out at 3 hours and you're killing it and you're doing everything you possibly can, there's a chance that you can't do any more than what you're given, but you can always work harder to try and be better. So yeah, mine neither. Like I have bad knees and I got a fake knee. So yeah, I'm not running. I'd ride a bike. Like, I mean, I would do, riding bikes is not bad for your knees. Okay, let's see here. This is a good one. If someone stands between your success, knock them down. They had it coming. Sometimes it's not knocking them down, right? Sometimes it's like just like moving over and getting them out of your way. And I think that's a lot of times like with haters, what we do, like, and I call them haters, like people should sit there, they sit here and they tell you what you can and cannot do, but they don't know you. They don't know your ability. And they're looking on the outside. And a lot of times when someone says, you can't do that, it's more like they can't do that. And they're scared of what the outcome will be. And they'll stop you from doing what you need to do because they can't do that. You can do whatever the hell you want. But if you allow that person to tell you you can't do that, then they have stopped you in your path and you know who you are and you know what you are. So that goes back to running the race and knowing that the finish line is there even though it's not there, right? You got to have faith that you're there. You got to have faith that you're there. Okay. All right. We got determination to succeed must be stronger than the fear of failure. And a feel of failure, or the fear of failure, with the fear of failure, you have to be determined that like failure is not something that stops you. Failure is not a barrier, right? Failure isn't something that says quit. Failure is something that says try again, figure out what you did wrong the last time, and then do it again. And then if you fail again, then you do it again, and you keep doing it. My daughter and I did that podcast the other day, and she's talking about math and how she's not good at math. Well, I'm going to tell you about math, all right? I was not good at math. I didn't try very hard at math. I kind of quit on math. And so before I share this, I'm going to say, Nikki says, sometimes the people closest to you, like family, they're protecting you, but they don't know what you're capable of. That's what I'm talking about. That's right there what I'm talking about. Like if I listened to what my parents said, I'd never be where I was. So they're trying to protect you, right? They're trying to make you take the safe bet. Okay. So you take the safe bet. And I did this. Like there's a couple things that I did. Like I went against the grain. What's up, Texas? We're over on TikTok. If you are hanging out, we're over live, Shaping Success with Wes Tinkersley on YouTube. You want to get in a conversation, I got you live on TikTok here so you can kind of see what I do. We got a conversation over there. I'd love to get as many people in here, as many comments, whatever. Make sure you share this out every time we do this. Just every morning, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, which is, if you're in Texas, 6 o'clock. East Coast, 7 o'clock. So, and then my West Coast people are asleep. Maybe. I don't know. Some people get up at 4. But I took the safe bet, right? Like my parents go. My dad has been an ag his whole life. So he agriculture and farming, things like that, his whole life. And he started out working at a hardware store, and then his father wouldn't pay. My grandfather owned a hardware store, and he wouldn't give him a raise. So he had 3 kids, and he needed a raise. He needed a little bit more money to actually take care of the kids. So he went to go work for someone else, right? And then that person gave him a raise, and he worked his way up. He became a supervisor. He became a manager. Now he's a sales manager. Like he took the long way there, but he got there, right? I don't want that to happen for you. He was a mechanic at first. I don't want you to have to work hard like that. I don't want you to have to do manual labor. I want you to get an education. I want you to go to college. I want you to do this. I want you to do that, because it's the safe bet, right? Because then I don't have to work hard to get where I need it. Well, hard work's in the DNA. It's there. And so, what's up, Cloudy in the house over on the old YouTubeage. So, hard work is something that is not it's not a bad thing, right? But, why work so hard if you didn't have to? Go to college, get a job, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I tried college. I didn't do very well. I didn't do good in math. I had to take all these other classes to get there. And I went to go work, and I changed tires for 11 years. I was doing this manual labor. It was very fulfilling. It was rewarding as far as money went. You're kind of tied to a man, though, right? Yeah, exactly. They have good intentions. The intentions are there. It's not like they don't want you to be hurt, but they also don't want you to take a risk, because if you take a risk, then, you may fail. And I just, you can't. Like, you have to bet on yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to do those things to make yourself better, is my thoughts. But I still fight that with them. So I quit working there because I hurt myself, my new knee that I have. Before I had the new knee, I had that injury, and they're like, well, if you keep working here, then you're not going to be able to do that. All right, I better do something safe. I better go back to college. Go back to college, get 2 degrees. I get 1 degree in education, and I'm like, shit, I'm not happy. I'm going to continue to keep working, because why would I stop? I need to get a master's degree. That was always the point. So got my bachelor's, worked on my master's while I taught for 4 years. Hated it. Couldn't stand it. Not because I didn't like coaching or kids or things like that, but it just it was not fulfilling. Not fulfilling enough for me to be able to take care of my kids and have some of the things that I needed. Cloudy, thank you for hanging out. Have an awesome day as well. And then I went into this job, which is risky, because no retirement, no guaranteed income, no nothing, which is rewarding, is rewarding. But there's ups and downs. There's highs and lows in this job. So you got to be able to weather that storm. And so, I mean, the safe bet is what it is. But when I went to college, and I rambled on and got off the path of what we were talking about. We're talking about math, right? We're talking about math, and I, in high school, didn't think that math was necessary. I wasn't very good at it. I hated it, but I had to go back to college. And in order to get that first degree, what I had to do, you have to go in and take a math test, right? Because it's been so long since I've been to college. I had to take a math test. I didn't have the skills to even get through algebra, right? I didn't understand it when I was a kid, and I didn't get it. But I had to start in math 15. And the math that I had to take was 244, was pre-calc, is what I had to take in order to get my degree. And at the time, I wanted to be a athletic trainer, so then I had to take some chemistry classes and all this stuff. There's a lot of math involved in being an athletic trainer. And we're not talking about a personal trainer. We're talking about an athletic trainer, a guy who's on the field with the team, taping ankles, things like that. A lot of math involved in it, because it's almost like being a doctor on the field. And now you even have to have a master's degree in order to be able to do that. So I couldn't get through the math that I needed to get through in order to be an athletic trainer. So, you know what, I'll be a PE teacher because I'll be able to still be involved in sports and things like that because I love doing that, helping people be stronger, educate them on how to be physically fit, things like that, right? So anyway, I had to take the class twice. The last one that I had to take in order to get through there, I had to take biomechanics, which is basically an engineering class for things like that, for like the mechanical way that the body moves, which I don't understand why I need to know what angle a knee is at to calculate how someone can kick a soccer ball, because I will never do that. But anyway, you had to do it. You're checking boxes in college, and that's the way it is. But without being bound and determined to complete that math, and this is what I tell my daughter, it's like, I wish that I would have paid attention in math class. I wish that I would have worked harder in high school, because then I wouldn't have had to start in Math 15. Not that it matters now, but it gave me that work ethic the next time around in order to do it. So when I got done with college the first time, when I failed college because I got a 1.67 GPA and I was like, screw this, I'm going to go work full time. That was when I decided that I was going to go work at the tire place. And I did that. And then when I went back the second time, I got a 3.6. And when I did my master's degree, I got 1B. I was so pissed. The lady didn't like the way that I wrote papers. Freaking English people. Just kidding, Nikki. English major. She didn't like the way I wrote, though. She was like a technical writer, and I was a BSer. But it was there. It was all in the rubric. And she just gave me a grade because she thought that she disagreed with the way that I wrote it. I don't care. Whatever. Anyway. Determination. All right. Focus. This is the last one I'm going to leave you with, because I think that this is part of being determined. A lot of times it's like torture, right? You feel like you're being tortured all the way to the top because you're having to work hard and you're having to get there. And this one says, the climb to the top hurts, but the view from the top is exquisite. Okay? No one said it was going to be easy. And if you go out and you work through and you think that your life is going to be easy when trying to be better every single time, you're wrong. Okay? You have to have a little pain and suffering so that you will continue to understand when you get there what it took to get there. And a lot of times, just like we talked about, people will try to talk you out of it. But when you get there, where were they? What do they say when you get there? They congratulate you, right? They don't talk about, well, remember when I told you couldn't do this, right? Remember when I said, don't do that, because they were afraid to take the risk. Remember that. Okay? That's it. Don't allow them to stop you. If you believe in yourself, you can do it, no matter what. It may hurt a little bit. There may be a little pain. There may be a little soreness. You know, I was putting up the fence the other day, and it was a lot of work, and I was tired. But when I was done, I looked at it, and it was like, I did that. Okay, remember that. I did that. This is it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Morning coffee. You guys can come join. What's up, Tammy, in Utah? Come join Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley on YouTube. There is a link in my bio. You can go to westankersley.com. You can go to shapingsuccessnetwork.com. Find the YouTube link, or just look it up in the bar. You can listen to this on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to this on any podcast platform that there is. Be bound and determined. Your pain is a gift, Nikki says. I agree. If you want to join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month, go over to patreon.com. That link is in the bio. Find me. Go ahead and subscribe. $3 a month helps me grow the show, helps me be here. Shine down quote. Very nice. Morning coffee, Warriors Collection. Get your Warriors Collection coffee. It's not mine, but my buddy Brian makes it. He was here yesterday. See you Monday.